ClickUp just solved AI's biggest problem, and it's saving 4 million teams from productivity loss every day. Unlike ChatGPT and other AI tools, ClickUp converges all your work into one platform, so your AI super agents have full context to prioritize tasks, execute workflows, and draft documents instantly. Teams using ClickUp finish work 30% faster and cut meetings in half. Try ClickUp for free today and get 15% off AI upgrades at clickup.com/podcast. That's CLICKUP.com/podcast.
Super real.
Hey everyone. So this week, we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to play you the first episode of our new show. That's right, we've got a new show, and it's called The Sex That Changed My Life. And yes, it's all about sex. But what I love is that this show is examining the power that relationships have to alter our lives. The way that you meet someone, and maybe it's a quick fling, or maybe it lasts years, but afterwards, you're nearly always different. I think I actually look at various periods of my life in terms of who I was dating at the time. You know, like being with someone is like a marker of an epoch. And I think that's just indicative of the kind of sway that relationships have over us. So that is The Sex That Changed My Life. And every week, we're going to meet someone whose life has been changed via intimacy. And just so you know what I mean, I'll give you some examples of the kind of stories that we're going to cover. So in one episode, we're going to meet a woman who had a 5-year relationship with her university teacher. It's pretty salacious. Or there's a story with a woman who had a fling with a French monk. Or, and I think this might be my favorite episode so far, there's a story of a woman who woke up from a coma, she'd fallen out of a tree, and she found this guy standing by her hospital bed. And this guy said, "Hey, I'm your boyfriend." And she didn't remember him, of course. It's sort of like 50 First Dates. Remember that movie with Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler? And it's kind of like that, except that she realized that she'd actually dumped this guy like a long time ago, and he was trying to use her amnesia to sneak back into her life. So great stories, really cool stories, really like juicy stories that just suck you in. And that's, I think that's kind of what we do here. It's super real. So I'm a producer on this new show, along with Rachel Tuffery, who's a producer on this show. So yeah, it's the same team behind What It Was Like. But it's hosted by renowned sex columnist Laura Rasholi. You might have actually read her work in Cosmo or Harper's. Also, I got to say, Laura just happens to be my girlfriend.
Hi.
Hi. How was that? How was it sitting through that?
Yeah, it was an interesting experience. You're very good at this.
Thanks. I was hoping you were going to say that. So look, let's start with a question. Why do a show about sex?
Well, really, I think it's because sex reveals so much about who we are and what we want. And I just don't think that it's done very well. It's either done in this really academic, heavy way, or it's done in a very cutesy, smutty, and overly sexualized way. And I really wanted to do a show that feels like delicious gossip, but also has heart.
Nice. Okay, and so what story are we going to hear today?
Today we're going to hear from Alice, who runs a happy endings massage parlour for women. But she actually started at a place in her life where she wasn't very happy. She was divorced. She was feeling really not good about herself. She always used to feel like the girl that wasn't noticed, that nobody desired. And she had this really life-changing intimate moment when she ended her marriage and she went on this date with a guy who she had amazing chemistry with, and he told her to look into the mirror while she orgasmed. And that moment, it really changed her life, so much so that she ended up opening a happy endings massage parlour for women.
What is that?
You'll have to listen to find out.
Okay. Yeah, good plug. Okay, I like it. Let's just do it. Do you wanna take it away?
Yeah, can I say your bit?
Yeah, say my bit.
Now I bring you the sex that changed my life.
So I'm standing naked in front of a mirror with this man that I have this intense chemistry with, and he's standing behind me and pleasuring me. And then all of a sudden he stopped and he was like, "You can't come until you look yourself in the eyes and say you're beautiful." And I was like,
oh my God, it actually makes me stress thinking about it.
Oh my God. I was
to be honest.
I cannot do that. I absolutely cannot do it. I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
I don't know if I could do that, to be honest with you.
I was like, I can't do it. And then he kept going.
Wow.
He physically kept going and kept getting me more and more. And he was like, I'm not going to let you come until you do it.
Wow.
And I looked up and I looked at myself and I said it and I said the words, but they came out and like, it wasn't fake. It was like a shock. I wasn't looking at my body. I was looking at my eyes. I was looking at the desire all over my face. I was looking at a sexual being, and that, I was like, oh, that is sexy.
Hi, I'm Laura Risholi, and this is The Sex That Changed My Life, the show that looks at how intimacy and relationships can shape our lives and uncover who we really are.
It was absolutely magical.
Oh, yes.
I've wanted this for so long.
Right there. Oh.
Don't stop.
Alice, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
It's
I'm
exciting.
really excited to have you here. So you went through a massive change in your life recently. Can you talk me through what happened?
I mean, like 10 things all at once. So so just post-COVID, I worked for an airline for like 10 years. And during COVID, I got made redundant. And my identity was this job. And I was a mum of 2 young kids. And I was living in the suburbs. I was also really heavily overweight, like very, very unwell. I topped out at like 136 kilos. Mm-hmm. And then in a really short amount of time, I had a bariatric surgery. I packed up my family and we moved to Thailand for an adventure because I was like post-COVID kind of a bit stuck down. My husband came out and wanted to explore that part of his sexuality, so we opened up our marriage. Mm-hmm. And then I proceeded to lose half my body weight and come back to Australia like a completely different person. And moving into like inner city and dating for the first time since I was a teenager and in a completely different body and a completely different way of living to everything I've been used to.
Did your marriage survive the openness?
No, but I wouldn't blame it necessarily on the openness.
Yeah.
I think that there's probably other factors at play. And I don't think my marriage was supposed to survive. I think survival would have been doing myself a disservice for my life.
For sure. And so you mentioned being in the suburbs and married housewife. Can you give us a little bit more context as to how long you were together for and sort of your identity during that relationship?
Yeah, so I met him when I was 15 years old. I went to a private all-girls school. He went to a private all-boys school. He was on the rugby team. I was school captain, like that kind of. And we met and we were inseparable best friends together for 23 years by the time we'd split. So my entire life pretty much. And we were very, very codependent. And yeah, I don't think – I was never an independent person. I never had any form of independence. I was always completely connected to someone else. My identity was shared. My path was set at like 15 that I would, marry this person that I had met and that had been together, and then I was going to have children. And yeah, I just kind of, I don't know how, because I come from rebels, but I just went down this really generic path. And then all of a sudden I kind of looked around one day and I was so unhappy and I was ignored and I was lonely and I wasn't having sex, and I like sex. And I had 2 young kids and my identity was just gone. Like I'd lost even my identity within the relationship, which was my kind of codependent identity, and I'd lost anything I had left of me as well. So I was just like a shell. I had no identity left.
How do you feel that you got into that space? Because I feel like a lot of women find themselves there.
Yeah, look, I think I had an easy win when I was younger. Like I met a person that I really loved, and we got along really well and we had a great friendship and we had a really good decade, like a really solid decade. There was some toxicity in it in the sense that we were young and we were following patterns that we, in hindsight now, if I was 10 years younger, I would be like, no, I'm not doing your homework and cleaning your bedroom. It fell on me really young. And I was buying birthday presents when I was not 16, not just Christmas presents when I was 30.
Your role was really cemented, super
early.
early.
Yeah, that role got set when I was 15.
Wow, that's so young.
Yeah, and it never really occurred to me because I was quite happy in it for a while and I liked it, and in that era it was kind of fun, and he's a fun person. We had a good time. And then once we had kids it wasn't fun anymore, and I couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I was super miserable. And I didn't like, it didn't like movie style like roll me into action to like get a better life. It was more like I felt rock bottom. I felt really crushed, and I was like, I kind of disconnected from the situation, but I took a step back from this and was like, this can't be all there is. Like, this can't be it. And I started to kind of explore more, and I feel like I went through a list of things I thought could do it. So I lost a huge amount of weight. Like I got very unwell for a while. Like I kind of just wanted to like get a little bit like healthier. And within, 18 months I'd lost 75 kilos or something. Wow. And I was sick. Like I was dying pretty much.
It's a big physical change.
Hugely unhealthy level of physical change. I was pretty much just like starving. But I tried everything first. I was like, I got him on medication, and then I got me on medication, and then I packed up our family, moved to Thailand for an adventure, and I cycled through everything I could think of to try and like fix it and pull it out, always thinking that it needed to be together because I had no identity outside of that.
Okay.
But at the same time, he was opening up, he'd come out and it was opening up and exploring his sexuality, which I encouraged really strongly because I think I've always been pretty ethically non-monogamous in myself, and I didn't really think it was right for him to go through life and never experience that part of who he was. So I was encouraging it, but it was really hard, and it never really occurred to me that it would be about me as well.
Yeah, right. How interesting.
I had no intention. The first time anything happened, it was him that was like, you should go for it. And I was like, that like really like young hot guy, like what are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's like, he's into you. I was like, no one's ever into me. Like, I'm the big girl in the room. Like, what?
Yeah.
I mean,
so like you were changing, but you weren't really picking up on it.
Not at all. Not at all picking up on it, and not at all intending to. Like, that wasn't what it was about for me. But I did, and then I was like, well, that was fun. And then I kind of proceeded to have more and more of those kind of experiences. So, I had all these things that I'd missed out on. I was enjoying it. I felt like I was like almost like a Pokemon, I sometimes refer it to. Like, it's like collecting all these experiences that I'd seen people have throughout my life that I'd never got to have.
Wow.
So, I had like, that first kind of nightclub pickup, sex on a beach, like, oh my God, moment. And then I had my first little like mini like holiday romance love affair that kind of went for a few days and was like a bit magical when I came back to Melbourne, and, staying over with someone and that kind of like first feelings of that. And and then I had big adventures. I had my first like, like, I'm trying to think of exact, like a threesome on a rooftop, like pool villa in like this mansion in Koh Samui with like two guys who I'm pretty sure in hindsight were really dodgy.
Best not to overthink.
No, and at the time I was like, it's amazing. It's stunning, like clifftop pool villas and all these really interesting things, and exploring my identity and like exploring my bisexuality and like playing with women, and when I moved back to Melbourne, going to sex parties and like really exploring all these things that were like became really interesting to me, and I felt like I was living all these adventures, but the more I kind of lived them, I was not only stepping away from that relationship, I also, in hindsight, think I was probably stepping away from myself and the reality of how I was feeling a lot, and I was chasing feelings and stimulus and emotions that were definitely an escape and not a coming home. I wasn't getting any closer to rediscovering myself. Yeah.
What was it that ended the relationship? Was that like a moment, or was it just a period of time where you were like, this is way better, I'm going to stay over here?
I think it was a bit of both. I think over a period of time, I stepped further and further into these adventures and into these feelings, while he started to do the same, and we stepped further and further away from each other, while also the original things that were an issue were not getting fixed.
Right.
So instead of, I think for me, I was like, you sort yourself out, because I'm sick of doing everything, and I'm sick of
Yeah.
You know, that classic female divorce trope of
I'm
like,
tired.
I'm tired. I'm tired of holding all the emotional labor. It's not sexy.
Yeah.
You don't want, I'm sorry, like without being rude, like you don't want to fuck someone who you basically feel like their mum.
Yeah. Or you
It's
also
not sexy.
You don't really ever want to fuck when you're tired either.
No.
So that's also
and when
a
you're
thing.
babying someone or it's just not sexy.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And then I just thought I wasn't sexy.
Right. Yeah.
And then I started to find that sexiness of other people. And I think that hurt him.
Yeah. Okay.
That really hurt him. And he could see that.
Yeah.
And he was like, you're doing these things and you're not taking me along for the ride. And I was like, I've taken you along for our entire life as a ride.
Yeah. Your turn.
Yeah, and now I'm finding this. And I think also like as he moved into his queerness and his, which I'm so proud of him for, but as he moved into his queerness and his openness and his space, he went in a really different direction to me. I moved into a place that I started to find pleasure in, which was my submissive side and a more feminine, gentler angle of myself and a more feminine version of me. And I started to really enjoy that. And we kind of really came apart in that we no longer were each other's. I wasn't dressing for him. He wasn't dressing for me. I wasn't going to the things with him. Like we started to find our own identities, and that decoupling or that like that removal of that codependency, it turned out that probably for the last however many years that codependency had been the only thing really holding us together. And as we went and found our own identities, we were just so different.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it doesn't surprise me. I think it must be really rare for people to get together at such a young age and be able to continue to like journey and their identities change in a way that works together.
Yeah, and I think like, in a weird twist, like because we were such good friends and we did have so many things in common, we pushed through longer than we probably would have. And I kind of wish we hadn't because we ended up pushing through to a really bad place.
Yeah.
A really like dark place. And I feel whether as if maybe there'd been a little bit less friendship, a little bit less things in common and less joy shared, it might have just kind of simmered and died.
Yeah.
Instead of this really quite like passionate, very sad and aggressive ending.
Yeah.
That's quite tragic for like, you know, a relationship that went for more than half our lives.
Yeah. So you're speaking about having sexual experiences that are taking you further away from yourself, like a bit of an escape, a bit of a distraction.
Yeah, and to a dangerous point sometimes, I think. Like I was really, you know, when I would have a dark moment or we'd have a big fight or things weren't great, I would seek out quite not healthy or not safe behaviors. Like I really would be looking for some like deeply submissive moments without the vibe check of whether or not someone was safe to be dominant with me.
Right.
Or that I was safe in that space or that I was mentally, I was just falling off a cliff.
Before we get to the experience that sort of changed or flipped that experience on its head for you, why do you think that submissiveness was the thing that was appealing to you at the time?
I think I've been thinking about this a lot in the lead up to this, and I think I've got a bit of an explanation that's a little bit different to what I originally thought it was. I originally thought it was the fact that I was busy and stressed and tired.
Okay.
And that I wanted to submit to someone and take that kind of pressure away from myself.
Right.
I might cry. I actually think that it was a deep insecurity in me. My marriage went through periods where my husband did not want to sleep with me, and that really crushed me, where I felt like I was pushing it. And my sex drive is really high. It's very hard to keep up with me. like really hard to keep up with me. Like I'm best with like a good solid roster.
Nice.
But I started to feel unwanted. And then the problem when you lose that amount of weight, just a really practical moment, when you lose that amount of weight that quickly, it's a bit of a dream come true in a lot of ways.
Right.
But in other ways, it's deeply dysmorphic. And in a whole other sense, your body doesn't cope. So I looked 10 years older really quickly because my face and my body got like loose skin. I had already had 2 babies and 2 cesareans. So like it's a big old mess down here, right? And I felt like I could see that I was pretty dressed and I could see that I was, but I still to this day feel like a catfish sometimes.
Okay.
Because I feel so imperfect underneath my clothing. And such strong issues with, and I was big from quite young. So I've never been very physically body confident. I faked it for a long time.
Yeah.
I wore the brave things and I cared about fashion and I faked a confidence, but it wasn't a true deep confidence.
Okay.
And when I lost weight, the true confidence didn't come then either.
Wow.
With all the hope that it would, going
Yeah.
from a size 22 to a size 6 in 18 months.
That's insane.
You would think that would be like, oh my God, this is like waking up in a movie with a new body. But instead I felt like a bobblehead. Like I felt very confused when I looked at myself. I wanted to stay dressed all the time. I wanted to be fully clothed. So I think for me, a lot of the time, the submissiveness was there's nowhere to embarrass myself because I was only doing what they told me. So I was only ever going to do what they were asking for or what they wanted. I was never going to step out of line or step out of myself or embarrass myself or put myself out there in a way that wasn't being asked of me because I wasn't leading anything.
So, like, if you asked for something that you wanted, you were afraid that the person would say no or not give you what you wanted, so you just avoided that.
Yeah, or if I, like, took my top off, they're like, ugh.
Right.
Like, you know, there was a shame in that for me. Like, I didn't have that moment of, like, look at me.
Yeah.
I was like, if I was doing it, it was like, I'm sorry. Like, you know, I was apologetic about it.
Right. And then if someone else asks you to do it, it's like, well, you asked for this.
Exactly. You asked for this. You're getting what you asked for.
Right.
I remember, like, even, like, the very first time I took my clothes off with anyone, it was, like, getting in a shower. And I remember, like, taking off my clothes and getting in the shower. And it was literally just because I had my period and I was, like, still super conscious. I was like, if you do it in the shower, it's okay. And I remember taking my clothes and standing there and being like, well, like, I literally said to him, I was like, well, this is it. Like, this is me. Like, I was apologetic. I was like, sorry.
Wow.
And he was lovely about it. He was great. And that probably should have been, like, the first clue that, like, men give a lot less shits than you think about how you look.
Totally.
But, you know, it wasn't. It was more just like, okay, that I'm acceptable in this moment. And then I lost, like, another 20 kilos on top of that. And at that point I was like, now I'm like, I'm misformed. Like I am like a problem underneath this.
And then you had an experience that was different, an experience that changed this mentality for you.
So I met a man on an app and we clicked and got along really well. And I thought that it'd be like a lot of fun. I just got out of a pretty toxic relationship with someone who was expecting some extremely performative behavior out of me. And then I met this man and he was probably a few experiences I'd had at that point with just randomly running into pleasure doms. And I'd had a few really good experiences, but they were like traveling wise. Like they were like one night things.
Okay. For the listeners,
yes,
can we describe what a pleasure dom is?
Yeah, sure, of course. So when you think about dominant and submissive dynamics in relationships, the whole what's it called? 50 Shades of Grey comes to mind, right? That was most people's introduction to dom-sub dynamics. And that is an impact dom-sub relationship. Yeah. So that is a line between pleasure and pain situation. That is a power moment. That is a submission. That is a type of dynamic.
Yeah.
There is another type of dynamic, well, there's many, but one of them is the pleasure dom, which is honestly, truly, if you're a woman,
find one.
Find one. Just find one. Find a real one. Like a real one.
The nearest pleasure dom.
Find one.
Right.
Essentially, for a pleasure dom, their kink is getting you off. Their kink is giving you pleasure, and that is their drive. So they will dominate, and you'll be submissive, but it is for your pleasure.
Okay, cool.
It is, and sometimes, like, to be clear, I'm very deep in that dynamic, and it can also be very physically challenging. Like when you have gone from, you know, maybe coming once or twice to like sessions where you might have like 10, 15 orgasms. Like that's a lot. And that physically it's a lot to submit to. Like, you know, you come sometimes and you're like, I'm done. I want to relax now.
Yeah.
A pleasure dom's usually like, no, we're going to go again. And
I tell you when you can relax.
I tell you when you can. And it's that same pushing of boundaries, same as pushing pain and in those other dynamics.
Okay, so you met a pleasure dom on an app.
I did, my pleasure on an app. And we went on, I think my first date, I like was like, we just kind of met, I didn't say like drunk, sex, whatever. And then our second date, there was this incredible chemistry. And I ended up booking a hotel like around the corner from where we had dinner because I was just like, I need it. Is that or the street? And like, I'm a mum, like dignity. I need some dignity in this. But but I stay, as always, I like tried to keep lingerie on, or like I'd wear like high-waisted underwear and like pull it to the side. Like I always had a plan. Even going to parties, like I always had a way
To stay covered.
like really to stay covered. So like, I would only buy one pieces or like body, like,
Bodysuits.
that didn't have a clip at the bottom, because if you could undo the clip, then it could ride up and you might see my stomach.
So you just pull it to the
So
side.
I'd buy ones that either had or had to be pulled to the side, or I'd wear a skirt that was short enough. Like everything was a minefield of how I could stay covered and hidden and not quite present.
Yeah, okay.
And this person and I got along incredibly well. We had this chemistry and this affection and this laughter, and it was a really deep connection really quickly. I again went to go and keep my clothes on, and he was just like, I can't do my thing if you're going to like stay like this. Like I can, you're not here. You're not in your body. You're hiding, and I want to give this to you, but like, I just don't think I can while you're like this. And at that point, like, it was kind of mid things. It wasn't like beforehand. So I was like raring to go.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just don't know how to do that. And he was like, okay. And I don't know how, all of a sudden I'm standing in front of a mirror and he's behind me and he's taken my clothes off. And like, I'm talking like my eyes are closed. I'm so like, I don't think I've looked at myself naked in a mirror.
Wow.
In 20 years.
That's so huge.
So I'm standing naked in front of a mirror with this man that I have this intense chemistry with, and he's standing behind me and pleasuring me. And then all of a sudden he stopped and he was like, you can't come until you look yourself in the eyes and say you're beautiful. And I was like,
Oh my God, it actually makes me stress thinking about it.
Oh my God. I was like,
to be honest,
I cannot do that. I absolutely cannot do it. I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
I don't know
like,
if I could do that, to be honest with you.
I was like, I can't do it. And then he kept going.
Wow.
He physically kept going and kept getting me more and more. And he was like, I'm not going to let you come until you do it.
Wow.
And
did it kind of speak to your like submissive tendencies, but it was sort of for your good?
100%. Initially, it spoke to my submissive tendencies and my desire. Like I like sex, I like pleasure, and I was, I really wanted to. So that's how initially was, and so I did it to be like in a submissive way. I did it in a state, and I fully intended to look up and fake it. And I looked up and I looked at myself and I caught myself in the mirror and I said it and I said the words, but they came out and like, it wasn't fake. It was like a shock. It was like, oh my God. Like, and I was looking at myself in this mirror and with this gorgeous man behind me, and I am naked and in this body that I'm so uncomfortable in, even though it's changed into everything I wanted it to be. And I was like, oh my God, I am sexy. But I wasn't looking at my body. I was looking at my eyes. I was looking at the desire all over my face. I was looking at a sexual being, and that, I was like, oh, that is sexy. Like, I saw myself as a sexual being in some, like the way someone else would see me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't aesthetically like perfect. It wasn't porn. It was a woman in a state of desire and pleasure, and it was hot.
So interesting that obviously we all know our imperfections better than anyone else, and we're the most critical of ourselves. But in that moment, you didn't see the imperfections that you normally saw. You saw something different. I saw something different, and I think that's the key thing for me, is it didn't change me into being like, I'm sexy because of my body or because of this, or I look sexy in a mirror. It changed me to, who gives a shit? I don't care. Yeah.
My body is a vessel, not just for the clothes that I love and the food that I want to eat and hugging my kids. My body is a vessel for pleasure. And that is sexy.
Yeah.
And the way that I do that, the way that I give myself to do that is sexy. The way that I take pleasure is sexy. And that was absolutely mind-blowing for me.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't actually about him.
Yes.
And it wasn't about a certain weight or about it was about me.
Yeah.
And it was the first time that I came home to myself.
Wow.
In a very, I don't know, maybe my whole life.
Did you were you looking into your own eyes
Yep.
as you came in the mirror?
Yep.
And not at any point did you feel uncomfortable. You were just like, you saw something that made you feel empowered, alive.
I think I was uncomfortable in some ways and fascinated to watch and to see. And yeah, and I can still remember in detail all of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
My face, the position, it was...
What was his reaction?
I think it turned him on immensely.
Yeah.
And it ended up being like a 6-hour incredible, some of the best sex I've ever had in my
Goodness
life.
gracious, 6 hours?
Yeah, I get tired, girl.
Oh
like
my God.
I'm not here for a quickie. I mean, I am, but like only
So
after.
impressive.
This is what I mean. It can be exhausting. All sympathy to not sympathy, but like I get the girls who are like, into like impact play submission or like shibari or whatever. Like that's physically draining. But it's coming 20 times over 6 hours. Like that is tiring.
Also, is this sort of like the first experience or one of the first experiences where you're experiencing like an empowering orgasm, or has this happened?
I think
lot.
I'd had a few. Look, to be honest, I think all the most amazing orgasms that I'd had since the opening up of our relationship. And like, I'm going to be clear, I lived my slut era late. I went to a high school where like slut shaming was the only sport we did. And then I like hooked up and I stayed married for like 20 years.
Yeah.
So like my era was late. It was skinny for the first time in my life. Like I went hard. I had a lot of fun.
You did it all.
I did it all. I had a good time. But the only really amazing experiences that I'd had were with pleasure doms.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that, and I'd had some really incredible times. But this was almost a mix of the two.
Yeah.
This was that intensity and that connection and that like thing, but also this presence and being present in my body. And that relationship continued, and I don't think about who stopped sleeping with that guy, right?
Well, yeah.
We're going to continue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else is there to be revealed?
Clearly, like we stay sleeping with that guy. I don't think about my body when I'm with him.
I was going to say, like, what has that experience changed for you?
My body is not the be all and end all. How I look is not the be all and end all. I think I went from being a big woman who was confident because I believed in like a body neutrality.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm hot. Like I got hot and I was like, I'm hot. And that was, and then I kind of reached a point where I'm actually just like, my body's a vessel for pleasure.
Yeah.
And in the same way, and I feel neutral in my body when I'm having sex now. I'm not like
searching for. Did you?
I'm not trying to pose myself to look appealing to the person with me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take my pleasure. I'm gonna give them pleasure, and I'm gonna get into it.
Yeah. Does it change how you like walk down the street, dress? Like, has it changed anything about the way you go about your everyday life?
Oh God, yeah. I want to be clear that happened before the end of my marriage.
Right. Okay.
My marriage ending was probably
because of that realization.
Because of that realization, yeah. I think in finding that in myself, I found a lot more and more of myself. And I started to seek out finding more and more of me.
Well, I mean, how could you live with people or something in your life that isn't allowing you to feel that way?
Yeah.
Now that you know it, it's
and also, what else is there to discover?
Yeah.
Like, I was 37. How old am I? Yeah, I was 37 years old. And I was like, holy, how much have I missed?
Right.
And it's not even, what have I missed? Like, how do I go and find me? What do I like? What do I want? Like, it was this an opening of a box. And my old relationship was not going to serve that.
No. Well, it hadn't been.
It hadn't been for a long time, and it never could, because it involved self-reflection. It involved self-discovery, and you cannot do that with the person who's known you since you're 15 by your side, I don't think. To a point, maybe.
Yeah.
But not as far as I needed to go.
What did you discover? What have you discovered about yourself since that moment?
That I'm autistic, that I have ADHD, that I love parenting in a unit of like community instead of in a nuclear family, that I enjoy submissiveness as a gift to people rather than a way to avoid putting myself out there. Instead, it's my gift that I give.
So cool, like a reframing.
I think I reframed a lot of things in myself. I changed a lot of relationships. Friendships that weren't serving me, where I was playing the role of I think I was always a supporting character in everyone else's life. And I think it gave me main character energy.
Nice.
I think that was probably the key thing. It gave me main
What a
character
gift.
energy, and I moved forward. And I'm not saying it all I didn't wake up the next day and all of a sudden it was
Of
just
course.
but it started a rethinking, and it started a reframing of my life to be really different.
Did it change the way that you see your body in an everyday sense as well?
I still see my body the way I saw it before. I still see the flaws. I still see the things that are good. I still stress with weight fluctuations the way everyone does, kilo here, kilo there. And but I stopped thinking that it defined my sexiness.
Yeah.
I think if someone's really shallow, or if someone is only aroused by someone looking like a model, then I'm probably not going to be for you.
But that's on them.
But not just is it on them, but I don't really want to play with you because
Totally.
I've had experiences like this.
Yeah.
And And you're quite frankly that energy's beneath mine.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick ad break, but stick around because we'll be back with more The Sex That Changed My Life.
If your team isn't using ClickUp, you're wasting time, and data proves it. 61% of knowledge workers manage work more than doing it, switching apps 1,000 times a day. That's work sprawl and costs millions. ClickUp replaces 20 apps with Convergence, uniting projects, docs, and chats, while AI super agents handle the busy work. Join 4 million teams using ClickUp to finish work 30% faster. Try it free and get 15% off AI upgrades at clickup.com/podcast. That's CLICKUP.com/podcast.
We interrupt this program to bring you an important Wayfair message. Wayfair's got style tips for every home. This is Styles Mackenzie helping you make those rooms sing. Today's style tip: when it comes to making a statement, treat bold patterns like neutrals. Go wild, like an untamed animal print area rug under a rustic farmhouse table from Wayfair.com. Arr, fierce. This has been your Wayfair style tip to keep those interiors superior.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Okay, so I know that this relationship has been ongoing and then has turned into also a business venture.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So it prompted the idea for a venture. So I obviously had been in a relationship my whole life, and I was used to only having sex with that person.
Yes.
When I opened up my relationship, I met a lot of amazing women, and I was really blessed that someone connected me in with someone who was a part of an E&M community, and I made connections and friendships. And as a part of that, a lot of people that are entering that space are people who are just coming out of long-term relationships, and they're exploring themselves for the first time. And it is shocking and so hard how many of these women come out of these relationships, whether they be toxic, whether they be just long-term monogamy, whatever, and they do not see themselves as sexual beings. They want it, especially when you talk about a certain age bracket, right?
Yes.
So that kind of divorcing age bracket, that's my age bracket. And so I was surrounded by these women, and they're coming into their sexual peak. They're horny, right? They're out there. They want it. They haven't had it in years. It's not been great. And they're so self-conscious. And they also grew up in an era, I'm a girl from I started having sex in the early 2000s. Not a great time for women. We idealize Usher songs, which are basically how romantic that he's sorry that he cheated on me. Our standards were low. Super performative. The first era of guys that had easy access to porn. That's the sex they expected. When and it was mainstream, all made in the US, really male porn. There was no
hetero,
no female options,
No.
No real pleasure. That's the guys that we first started sleeping with.
Yeah.
And then we
ruined us.
And then we married them, and they continued to jackrabbit us for 15 minutes and move on.
Right.
That's not fair on my husband. He was better than that. But but in general, that's kind of what we grew up with.
Yes.
And we haven't dated in ages. And as these women are coming out of these relationships, I was seeing them around me and having these conversations where they were just stuck.
Mm.
They were like, oh, I actually don't orgasm. And I'm like, I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
Or like that, I can only come with this certain thing, or I can only come with a toy. They had all these hang-ups around their pleasure, or like, oh, and it's just not fair. Like, I don't want to make someone do that. I feel really bad because I can't come. And I was like, I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, because at this point I'd had all these experiences and I was having this amazing sex. And I was like, I don't necessarily think we're giving ourselves enough credit.
Did you have the same belief that they had, like, when you were still in that relationship? Was that sort of, did you recognize yourself in them at all when they were having these hang-ups?
Yeah, 100%. But it was more, I want to be clear, my husband wasn't bad. Like, he was probably one of the better ones, right? He's queer, he cared, he was not a bad sexual partner. It's just, it kind of died.
Yes.
The sexual relationship died, and
there's a term for it now. They call it dead bedroom.
It was dead.
Yeah.
And it died.
Yeah. So you just hadn't had that experience of orgasm for a while.
No, it died. And I did, but like with toys or very forced or whatever. That sexual desire was dead, and I felt my sexuality was tied to him.
Yeah. Okay.
My sex was his sex because that's all it had ever been. And I saw that with women, and I remember thinking, like, how the hell do you come out and have a 20 or whatever year relationship end, a divorce end, and you haven't had sex with anyone else in 20 years? See, I had this like soft launch, right? Like, I'd had like 2 years at this point where I was sleeping with other people and having other experiences.
Yes.
So by the time he was gone, I was like, I kind of got this. Like, I can do this.
Yeah.
But a lot of women don't.
Yeah. It's like cold turkey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it started to really impact me. It started to really make me feel very sad. And yeah, but I knew someone.
Yes.
Like, I knew a guy who like had a skill.
Yeah.
And who loved that skill. And then I met other guys who had these skills. And so I started a business.
Well, tell the listeners what your business. It's the most iconic business. So, like, just for a bit of context, I met Alice about a year ago at an event, and someone else pulled me over and said, "You have to speak to this woman. She owns the most incredible business," which is
Goddess Glow.
Yes.
So Goddess Glow is a female-run, female-centric, female-serving massage company. Mm-hmm. So we do erotic and sensual massage. So we are all about women. We are all about non-performativeness. And essentially we are about serving women and breaking those barriers between I can't come, or I'm stuck in this, or I need this breakthrough, to just be in their bodies, receive, give nothing back, and just drop back into themselves, feel that moment where they don't need anything other than pleasure.
So can you talk me through what a session looks like?
Yeah.
For a
So
woman?
I handle all the communications, which is it's my passion project. Like, I love it. It's my ode to women, I call it.
Yes.
And essentially I talk to women. I find out what they're looking for, why they've come to us, how they've come to us. Like, sometimes it's they just want some fun. They've heard about happy endings for men and they're like, oh my God, amazing. They're ready. They're progressive. Sometimes it might be that they've had sexual trauma. And so I'll really, talk to them and understand like what that looks like.
Yeah.
And that being a long-term relationship and they're ready to get back out there and experience pleasure, but they've got this blocker happening and they just can't push through. And it's about freeing that. Or it might be that I can only come with a toy, or I can only come in this certain way, and we're just like, nah. And that happens to me all the time. People go, oh, you can tell your masseuse, like, I'm so sorry, like, I just don't come. And I'm like, sure.
Yeah, let's chat about this after the sesh.
We'll see.
Yeah. Come back to me at the end.
You'd be surprised.
So your masseuses are at the moment all men?
No.
Oh.
They were. Very recently, we are now collaborating with 2 females, which is super exciting.
Fun.
A big part of that, it was something that we took a while to get to, but a big part of that is we have couples. And this is one of the stories that I tell. When we first started, one of our very first massage clients, I found out afterwards that after the massage, she left her husband.
Oh, wow.
Because she'd had an orgasm for the first time in like years. And she was like, if this stranger can do this to me in 1 hour. Actually, obviously, there's a lot of other stuff leading up to it.
Yeah.
But one of these things was this sexual dissatisfaction, which she'd half blamed herself for.
Of course.
And then in an hour, we were like, no, it's not your fault, babe. And she was like, all right, I'm out.
Wow.
And we're like, oh, wow, okay. And then we had someone else who took it a different way and went back to their partner and was like, hey, I'm on the edge of leaving here because I'm not getting there. This is what worked in this space and I know I can do it. So let's work together to make it happen.
That's awesome.
So then we started doing workshops and like couples, like private workshops and big ones. And we're like, maybe we should like help people instead of just like taking them away.
Yeah.
Because I think, it's an unusual business model in the sense that like, I don't consider someone coming back multiple times to be a success. I don't want a client or a customer getting addicted to this experience. I want them to go and demand it in their everyday life.
Yeah.
I want them to go into their relationship because I'm sorry, if you don't have an hour to make the woman that you are in a relationship with come, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but like
Plain
you
and
don't
simple.
deserve this woman.
Yeah.
So it's about like taking a woman and showing them what their body can do.
Yes.
And showing them the pleasure they deserve and kind of getting them back out there in the world to take it.
It might also be a little bit about teaching men how to do it because I think there's this
Which is why we started the workshop.
Yeah, there's this thing of like you just need to know. And
Yeah.
no one knows.
No.
Unless you take
No.
the time you put upon yourself
Yeah.
to like learn.
And look, one of the first workshops we did, we had multiple lesbian couples come along.
Oh, wow.
And I loved that they were like, I feel like we could learn some stuff as well. And I did a one-on-one class with one of our massagers because I've got that classic thing of like a bi girl who was always with men and then all of a sudden was like, hey, the girls are so pretty and I'm scared of them and I want to do good and I don't know what I'm doing. And I've had so many men fumble around me. I'm like, I don't want to be that with a woman. Like, I don't want to fumble a woman. They're so precious and beautiful. Like, I want to get it right.
Yeah.
So I have like our like lead masseuse do a class with me and another girl who felt the same. And it was fascinating. We had like 3 hours in a hotel room where he was like, we were practicing on each other. And the amount that I learned, I was like, oh my God. Like I could not believe how much about consent and about watching a person's body and all these like little signs and all these movements. I was like, my mind was blown.
I'm so curious on who these masseuses are. Like, why do they have this special skill? Are they all pleasure doms or what's the,
Yeah. So for me, the men will only hire pleasure doms because women know if you're enjoying yourself or not.
Yeah.
We are so self-conscious in
Yes.
that we're going to pick up on anything.
Yeah.
So the hiring and working with pleasure doms means that even if they're not, they're professional, they're super professional, right? But they're going to enjoy it because they enjoy that.
Yes.
Like they don't need to be necessarily have a strong attraction to that woman. It doesn't matter to them. They're attracted to pleasure.
They're task driven.
Yeah, and they genuinely care about pleasure.
Yeah.
So they're going to enjoy themselves and enjoy their job because they're giving pleasure and they like to do that.
So were the women pleasure doms as well? So
the women are not. The reason we brought the women in is because I think that sometimes women are more comfortable with women and I want to be able to offer them that option. Also for the women themselves who are doing the work, creating a space for them to do it the way they want to do it, non-performatively, is a real pleasure. So these are women who have only worked in salons or whatever where they've been, servicing men in that space.
Right, gotcha.
And they don't get to be their true selves.
How do you hire / audition these masseuses?
Oh, my God.
I'm intrigued.
It's a really tough job. It's hard.
Yeah, sounds terrible.
If you'd like to join me sometime, it's really tough.
Oh, yeah.
Look, essentially, I started this business with a male masseuse who is our number one. He's our trainer. Very, very solid pleasure dom, very good at what he does. Originally, it was just the two of us, and then we've expanded out. So I don't like being massaged. I don't like being touched by strangers.
Yeah, interesting.
I know, wild for someone who regularly seeks out being touched by strangers, but I don't like that, anyway. So we test, we trial. We ask them to bring their A game. We put our boundaries in place and we get them to show us what they've got and show both someone who is prickly and challenging and someone who loves it.
So do you put a person, essentially give them a free session, a person that you trust, and then do they report back to you or how does it work?
So the main one we've done was probably the best way to describe it is we had 2 massage tables set up in the same room. We had our primary masseuse and the person we were auditioning and myself and a client who has used us previously knows us well, is quite open and is really body confident and into it, and like, because you get kind of a spectrum of women, right? Like some are just like,
yeah, of course.
and some are like, do me. So I'm this.
Yeah.
And the other girl that was in the room was like the, oh, bring it on kind of the type.
Yeah.
So, and then we kind of got them to alternate so that he could watch, because it's our business, right? Like he's a big part of that as well. He's kind of like the behind, bit more private person.
Yeah.
But he's a really key part of that. And so he wanted to see and wanted to bring that energy.
And to be clear, this other person who's in the business with you is the person who gave you this mirror experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very important through line.
Yes. So it is the same person. So we then went into business together.
Wow.
To like give this to other people.
That's so unique.
It is. And it's a really, it's very interesting. And so it allows me to really confidently talk to women and say like, it's okay, sweetheart. Like, I know you're going to have a good time. Like, I know it's okay. I know this person has you. I trusted them with my life.
Yes.
And my identity. Like, you can too. And I can mean that with every single ounce of my being, which I love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the, I just want to think about the best way to frame this sentence. What's been the biggest takeaway from witnessing women in this stage of life and this mental stage for you? What's been the biggest takeaway?
That it's heartbreaking. That it's really heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Like it shatters me.
And so common.
It's so common. It's so common that like it's almost boring in its commonality, but it's too depressing to be. Women who are coming out of long-term relationships in their late 30s to, well, mid 30s to mid 40s, like this kind of. And it is like an epidemic, right? Like you ask anyone, you ask any marriage cycle, it is an epidemic. And they're coming out of it, and it is tragic how low their expectations are.
Yeah.
And it is, if they're dating men their own age who are in similar situations, it's just someone else's same problem.
Yeah.
In the nicest possible way. Like, it's just like we're just swapping. You can have my, like, ex-husband who's, not delivering, and I'll take yours for a bit, but it's the same ride.
Yeah. Do you feel like, it sounds to me that you're giving women more than an orgasm? You're giving them
100%.
like a belief in their body that they didn't have before.
That's 100% what it is. It's like showing them what they can do.
Yes.
It's almost like a quick personal training session, right? It's like, if you think you can't do this, or you think you're not entitled to this, or you think you couldn't ever relax and just receive without giving, you're wrong.
Think again.
Think again. Let me show you what you can do. Let me show you what a boss you are, that you can lie there and you can give yourself over to pleasure and just enjoy yourself.
For anyone listening who's curious about how to have a session, how do they get in touch with you?
So we are Goddess Glow Melbourne on Instagram. And if you just reach out through the PM in that, I am there, and I will chat and talk through and answer a million questions.
There might be some straight men listening / watching this.
Hi.
Yeah. I hope they're here. And if they are, I'm sure they're thinking, how do I do this?
If they are, they're already one step ahead of a lot of men.
Totally.
If they're engaging in a podcast about sex.
Snaps for the straight men that are here.
Yeah, thank you for coming, because that's how we come. Like, I realistically think interest, wanting to learn, being open, being vulnerable, asking the questions, and really encouraging a non-performative sexual interaction is the key.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you whether or not, like, to get a bit graphic, but like when I did my when we did our little class, I was like, so like I know how I like my clitoris to be touched. Turns out not everyone's the same.
Yeah.
Up, down, around, different motions, all different. Test, be interested, look at body language, see, like ask.
Yes.
Often women by this point, we know, right? Like we've got some idea of what we like and don't like.
Yeah.
Ask the questions and don't be afraid. I think men were taught through porn as many negative things as women were.
Totally agree.
The same way we were taught to be performative and quiet and grateful, they were taught that the best way to have sex is to do it to a person.
Yeah.
Not with a person, but to a person.
Yeah.
And that is damaging because everybody is different. And you don't have to be some like non-stop stud to like give good sex.
Yeah.
Take your time, slow down, ask questions. Doesn't make you shit at sex. It actually makes you better.
Yeah. Amazing.
Or come to one of our workshops.
Yes. I was going to say, do you have...
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me
They'll
more
be all
about
up on the website.
You are learning by doing
It's
and
like,
watching.
like imagine you going to a yoga class, except to like learn erotic massage.
Wow. That sounds like I need to
very
attend.
Fun. It's really fun. You can come
Please.
along. It's great.
Yes.
It's really enjoyable and it's really interesting. And you look around the room and you see different people reacting to different things, and you test and trial different pressure points and pleasure points and different ways of movement, and you're looking at body language. And we usually have a model up the front who is literally experiencing it, and right all the way through to like we do like squirting workshops and stuff if like that's something that you're like interested in learning a bit more about as a kind of release. So yeah. That's pretty interesting.
Have you ever had a situation where the person has not had a happy ending?
No. We don't like to advertise that or promise it because it puts a huge amount of pressure on the woman.
True.
And a lot of these women already feel pressure.
Yeah.
They already feel like...
They don't want to be the first one. Yeah,
yeah,
I got that.
Even that, but like often some of their trauma is based in that, right? Like a man's been like, oh, it's so hard to make you come.
Right.
and has made them feel bad about it or made them feel like it takes ages to get there or they felt guilty.
The actual audacity, I can't.
Well, but it's all, and it's coming from the women themselves a lot as well. They're like, they'll fake it or they'll do whatever.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily even to say that the man that they're with is always not necessarily interested, but it's more that it just takes time and direction and they don't want to do that. And so they kind of just like tap out and, oh, it's too hard or don't worry or like your pleasure's enough for me. And so we don't want to put that pressure on them if they've got it in their head that they can't come.
Yeah.
So what we just say is like, have a good time. Just relax. You will feel pleasure. You will feel relaxation. You will feel sensuality. You will. But yeah, we don't like to
advertise it.
We don't like to advertise it, but yeah, we don't. We've not yet failed.
I love it. Alice, thank you so much for coming and talking to me.
Thank you for having me. It was really fun.
It's been a joy. I've learned so much.
Too much?
No, never. No such thing.
Okay, excellent. Good.
I'll be coming to one of those workshops too.
Yeah, do. They're so fun. They're really cool. Then you get my massages after.
Woo! Let's go.
That conversation really reminded me that so many women just don't see their bodies as vessels for pleasure. It's something we've been taught, through storytelling around relationships, that women are just meant to facilitate male pleasure, to make the man come or to come for him. It's even something that's baked into actual dirty talk, like when they say, come for me, baby, That request has always made me cringe, and I think it's because it feels performative and fake, or like it's just not for me. But of course, female bodies are designed to feel and receive pleasure, and our lives change once we understand that and once we experience it. I think that when we don't allow ourselves to receive pleasure, we're not just doing ourselves a disservice, but also doing a disservice to the men or to our lovers in general. Because they'll never learn if we don't show them, and we need to understand what our body's like before we can show them. Like, we need to learn to let ourselves go, to let go of the shame, and to let go of the ego. I think Alice is helping women like me do that. So we've popped the link to her business, Goddess Glow, into the podcast notes if you want to learn more or experience it for yourself. Thanks for listening. Tune in next week because I'm talking with a woman who dated her university professor for 5 years. It's juicy. We'll see you next week.
And that was The Sex That Changed My Life. New episodes are going to arrive weekly from now on, and it's a video podcast, so you can actually watch it on Spotify or YouTube, or you can just listen to it on Apple Podcasts. And this week, for What It Was Like subscribers, we've got a bonus interview with one of the men who works at Alice's Happy Endings massage parlor. So this guy's name's Andy, and his job, quite literally, is to give women orgasms for a living, which frankly sounds like a lot of pressure, I think. I was really curious about what this job involves, the skill, the psychology, the emotional side of it. So we dive into this for our subscribers this week. So go check it out. I think it's a really interesting conversation. What It Was Like is produced by Rachel Tuffery. This episode was edited by Ellie Dickey, who also does our research. Our cover art is by Rich Akers. Our theme music is by Jimmy Saunders. And this whole thing has been a Super Ill production. See you next week.